JavaScript programming language. What is JavaScript? Along with HTML and CSS, the computer language known as JavaScript or JS is one of the foundational elements of the World Wide Web. 98% of websites will utilize JavaScript on the client side by the year 2022 to control web page functionality, frequently integrating third-party libraries. A dedicated JavaScript engine is available in every major web browser and is used to run the code on users' devices. JavaScript is an ECMAScript-compliant high-level, frequently just-in-time compiled language. It features first-class functions, prototype-based object orientation, and dynamic typing. It supports event-driven, functional, and imperative programming paradigms and is multi-paradigm. It offers application programming interfaces, APIs, for using the document object model, regular expressions, dates, and standard data structures, DOM. There are no input-output (IOA) features like networking, storage, or graphics capabilities in the ECMAScript standard. In reality, JavaScript IOA APIs are offered by the web browser or another runtime system. Originally only used in web browsers, JavaScript engines are now essential parts of some servers and a wide range of applications. Node.js is the most widely used runtime system for this application. Even while Java and JavaScript share the same name, syntax, and standard libraries, the two programming languages are separate and have very different designs. History. In 1993, Mosaic, the first widely used web browser with a graphical user interface, was made available. It was easy for non-techies to use and contributed significantly to the World Wide Web's explosive expansion. The main developers of Mosaic later created the Netscape company, which in 1994 produced the more advanced browser Netscape Navigator. The majority of people started using this. In the early days of the internet, web pages could only be static and lacked the capacity to behave dynamically once they were loaded in a browser. In 1995, Netscape made the decision to incorporate a scripting language into Navigator in response to the burgeoning web developer community's demand to do away with this restriction. In order to do this, they pursued two different strategies: working with Sun Microsystems to integrate Java and recruiting Brendan Eich to integrate Scheme. The best course of action was quickly determined by Netscape management to be Eich's creation of a new language with syntax more like to Java and less like Scheme or other existing scripting languages. When it was officially released in December 1995, the new language's name was changed from LiveScript, which it had been given when it was first distributed as part of a Navigator beta in September 1995. Confusion has resulted from the choice of the JavaScript moniker, which implies a connection to Java. Eich believed that Netscape had used the moniker JavaScript as a marketing gimmick because Java was the hottest new language at the time and the dot-com boom had just started. Growth and maturity. In 1995, Microsoft released Internet Explorer, which sparked a battle of the browsers with Netscape. Microsoft developed their own JavaScript interpreter, dubbed JScript, by dissecting the Navigator interpreter backwards. In addition to the initial support for CSS and HTML extensions, JScript was initially made available in 1996. Every one of these implementations stood out from their Navigator counterparts. Because to these variations, it was challenging for web designers to create websites that functioned well in both browsers, which resulted in the widespread use of Best Seen in Netscape and Best Viewed in Internet Explorer logos for a number of years. Netscape submitted JavaScript to ECMA International in November 1996 in an effort to establish a baseline specification that all web browser makers could follow. As a result, the first ECMAScript language definition was formally released in June 1997. Meanwhile, Microsoft expanded its hegemony over the browser industry. Internet Explorer had a 95% market share by the early 2000s. JScript consequently became the accepted practice for client-side scripting on the web. Client-side scripting was inactive during the early 2000s when Internet Explorer predominated. In 2004, when Netscape's successor, Mozilla, debuted the Firefox browser, things started to shift. Many people liked Firefox, which significantly reduced Internet Explorer's market share. Jesse James Garrett published a white paper in 2005 in which he introduced the word Ajax and discussed a group of technologies, with JavaScript serving as the foundation for building online applications that allow data to be loaded in the background rather than having to reload the entire page. JavaScript saw a revival as a result, led by open-source libraries and the communities that grew up around them. In 2008, Google released the V8 JavaScript engine that powered its Chrome browser, which was quicker than its rivals. Just-in-time compilation, JIT, was the main breakthrough, therefore other browser vendors had to redesign their engines to support JIT. A significant number of extensions and improvements were standardized with the release of ECMAScript 6 in 2015, after years of ambitious development on the language. Outside of web browsers, the use of JavaScript has significantly increased with Ryan Dahl's 2009 launch of Node.js. Node creates a standalone JavaScript runtime system by combining the V8 engine, an event loop, and I/O APIs. 27-28 millions of developers were using Node as of 2018-29, and NPM had the most modules of any package management in the entire world. The contemporary JavaScript ecosystem includes a wide variety of libraries and frameworks, well-known programming conventions, and extensive JavaScript usage outside of web browsers. Additionally, a number of transpilers have been developed to help with development as single-page applications and other JavaScript-heavy websites have become more popular.